There are many simple ways that you can incorporate puppets into your classroom lessons or your library story time. Before I share specific examples in future video episodes, I want to demonstrate a few general techniques for making puppets move effectively. Folkmanis Incorporated makes many kinds of puppets which function in different ways and can serve different purposes. There's different styles of hand puppets that are the most common, so I've chosen to focus on those in this initial introduction. When you're presenting with a puppet, go ahead and just say it's a puppet. If you don't, very young children in particular in the audience will probably interrupt you repeatedly to ask if the character is real, since they're developmentally working on what is real and what is pretend in their day-to-day world. If you just introduce the puppet as a puppet, it won't make it any less real or less magical for your audience. At the same time, embrace and really believe in your puppet, since while you're manipulating it, if you treat it lovingly and realistically, it'll be much more enjoyable for the audience as well as for you. Watch the puppet while you're animating it, whether you're hidden from or visible to the audience. If you're visible and the audience can see you, if they see you watching the puppet, they will then watch the puppet. The audience is going to look where you are looking. You might glance out at the audience from time to time to kind of gauge their response and include them in the conversation, but avoid competing directly with your puppet unless you've orchestrated some kind of comical, puppet versus puppeteer competition. Watching the puppet while animating it is also going to enable you to monitor the puppet's movements and believability. One of the most common types of hand puppet is structured so that you move its entire head as a unit, and you can also move its two arms or paws. Its mouth does not open and close. Your hand goes up into the puppet like this with your three middle fingers. This is how it is in the rabbit, the three middle fingers together and the thumb and the little finger in each of the paws. If the puppet's neck opening is really tight, you might have just two fingers up in there and this one folded down and your other fingers in the paws or hands. What you'll be able to do is make the puppet, you can make it tilt its head, you can make it rub its eyes, you can make it scratch its neck. Many of these different motions can be made internally. You can manipulate internally for the puppet. Some puppets might have like a tail or something that you want to manipulate, and that would have to be, maybe done externally, but that's fine. Back to the bunny. So one of the most important points to remember with all hand puppets is that effective eye contact between the puppet and the audience is absolutely essential. Think about how disturbing it is when you're talking with a real person and they're not looking at you while they're talking with you. The same situation is true with the puppet. You need to make certain that your puppet is making intentional eye contact with people in the audience, looking from person to person. If your audience is sitting down on the floor and you're up on a chair with the puppet or standing with the puppet, you might need to angle the puppet's, face downward to look at the audience. Since you're going to be watching the puppet a lot while you're animating it, you should be able to monitor the eye contact that they're making with the audience. The other most common type of hand puppet is a puppet with an articulated or movable mouth, such as Babette here. Babette, go ahead and show them your mouth. See, her mouth opens and closes. Again, it takes practice to become skilled and really comfortable manipulating the puppet, but practice really pays off enormously, both in terms of enjoyability and believability. A common mistake that people make when manipulating puppets' mouths is for the puppeteer to just open and close the mouth so that the puppet is kind of eating its words rather than speaking them. So Babette will demonstrate this for you. Hello, my name is Babette. See how she's biting on those words? Think about what happens when you speak. You essentially open your mouth to let a word or syllable out, and then you close your mouth after the word gets out, open it again for the next one. The puppet should likewise open its mouth to release the word or syllable and close it, open it for the next one, and so on. So Babette, please demonstrate. Hello, my name is Babette. See how much better that looks, more natural. I'm going to actually switch over to these Peepers puppets now that are little eyeballs. They're created by the puppeteer and inventor Hobie Ford, and they're available at peeperspuppet.com so that you can see my hand more clearly while I'm demonstrating this technique. You keep your wrist and your hand inside the puppet really flexible and loose. Your hand moves very slightly forward. I'm turning it sideways just so you can see that. You know, you'd have your puppet watching the audience. Then your hand returns to its original position. The motion is almost like you're lightly flicking water off the ends of your fingertips. You're going to try and move the puppet's lower jaw more than the top jaw. The lower jaw is about 70% and the upper jaw is about 30% or so. It's probably going to feel unnatural at first when you start doing that, but again, it will help your puppet maintain eye contact with the audience to move it in that way. If you're moving the top jaw too much, you know, the puppet's head is essentially going to be rearing back up and again like that. So it's important to move the lower one more than the top. To practice, try counting to 5 with your puppet. As the puppet says each number, your wrist is going to move gently forward, and your hand opens on the number, and then your wrist returns to its original place, and your puppet's mouth is going to close. So we'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll do it again. I'm going to turn it sideways so you can see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll try it with single syllable words like I love books. I love books. Let's try it again. I love books. Once you've practiced this basic mouth movement with monosyllabic words, begin to practice with longer words. You know, especially when you're a beginner, you're not going to be able to open and close the puppet's mouth on every single syllable or every single word, or the mouth starts feeling flappy. You know, if we try the phrase, I love librarians, let's first try it saying every single syllable, opening the puppet's mouth on every single syllable. I love librarians. Feels like a little bit much, just a little bit flappy. Let's try it again where we combine the second and third syllables of librarians. So brary together. Let's try it. Go ahead and try it. I love librarians. So that's a little bit more controlled. Learning how and when to combine syllables like that takes practice. A great way to do it is to lip sync with your bare hand to television commercials or songs, other people's conversations. Finally, a puppet's availability to speak provides you with a really good opportunity to give him or her a character voice. It can help define that puppet's personality. It can help maintain the audience's interest. If you do give the puppet a particular voice, however, you really need to be able to maintain it. It's so confusing for an audience to watch and listen to a puppet that has 2 completely different voices. Go ahead and demonstrate. Hello, my name is Babette. I'm a sheep. I mean, isn't that strange? Puppets often seem to take on a life of their own. A good puppeteer just tries to help the puppet come to life for the audience. Remember that the audience will really love it if you embrace your characters and present them with abandon, because it's not about you, the puppeteer, it is about your audience. Stay tuned for further installments. We'll be back.